gives me so much adrenaline rush whenever I do these.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. For me, it's been a busy couple of days. We just had our first baby actually on August 8th. So
Oh
Oh,
shit!
that's been
congratulations.
fun.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
So,
manic, isn't it? It's a manic
oh yeah, I'm
afterwards.
like, yeah, it was great. Honestly, we were in the hospital. She was being induced for on Tuesday at 9 p.m. up until Thursday, and then it just wasn't working out. So we had to do like a C-section, but it's all good now. The baby's here, healthy. The wife's doing good. She's recovering, and I think we might be able to
Oh,
go home
good.
soon, maybe like tomorrow or so. But yeah, that's pretty much what's new with me, and been looking forward to this.
Wow,
Oh,
that's so
lovely.
awesome!
Yeah.
And happy birthday, Bran.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's my birthday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday as well. God, it's
Oh,
been
Thank you,
a
thank you.
crazy couple of days for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna help me remember my birthday. That my son will be his birthday's also August, so that'll help. You know, I
Yeah.
just
oh,
turned
that's
30,
cool.
so I'm like, how old am I now?
That's so cool. So you got two kids.
Just one
Just one?
kid.
Oh, okay, this one kid. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
first one.
awesome.
But
Oh, you're gonna do great. I just know it, Bran.
thank you, I appreciate it.
And then
It's
you can
gonna be a
always ask
long
me
road.
questions. All right. Well, how about this? Let's just get on started.
All right, let's do it.
Bran, okay. So, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, so I was born actually in Southern California. I still live here right now. Um, I've always loved video games. From a young age, I remember my dad getting me, some early game consoles like, Genesis, like the Game Boy. So I grew up playing video games. I also grew up, doing art. I always had a pencil in my hand, always doodling, sketching stuff up. Did some art classes, throughout, my education. And then as I got to college, that's when I kind of started figuring out what I enjoyed more about art, and I enjoyed more of the digital side of art. So when I got my first job and I started making some money, I bought like an iPad and started like, dabbling more into like digital art. I'm not the best when it comes to sharing my art on like social media. I tried to when I got my iPad, started sharing stuff, but honestly it's hard for me to do that. But I want to get better at it. I actually do want to start sharing my digital art on Twitter, do virtual photography and also do some digital art. Haven't really had much time or haven't been motivated to do digital art recently, but I want to get back in the groove of that and start sharing more of that with everybody. But besides that, um, I was a huge swimmer. I did like swim club, water polo growing up. So
Oh, that's dope.
yeah, so I was really into that. I always loved the water. Um, I have a younger sister. She has two kids now. My parents still live in Southern California. I live in Thousand Oaks, California, with my wife over here. We got two dogs. We got Albus. He's a white husky. We got Maka. She's a black mixed lab. And I got three cats. So we have a zoo in the house. We got
That's a
Alistair.
big family, though. I love that.
Yeah. We got Alistair, we got Luna, and then we have Indy. So our house is gonna be much more busy with the newborn, so it's gonna be crazy. But I think besides that, yeah, I love art, love video games. I love going to the movies and taking the dogs on walks, getting coffee. Huge lover of coffee.
Oh, right. I remember we were
Um,
talking about that. Do you have
yeah, yeah.
like a favorite go-to?
Oh, you know, probably like I I tend to go for like a mocha. I like a good mocha. Um,
Yes, that's a safe bet right there.
Safe
Don't
bet,
feel bad.
Yeah, but it's as I'm getting older, I've realized that got to start having like the oat milk, the soy milk.
Yeah, I don't
Stomach
want no.
getting a little more sensitive. So, but yeah, it's I think that's a lot. That's pretty much like what I like to do on the daily. For work though, I do labor compliance for construction in my county that I live in. So I do a lot of driving around to public projects that happen in the county, talking to workers, making sure they're getting paid correctly. That's a job that I picked up pretty early in COVID. So been doing that for the last couple of years. And besides that, when I have time after work, I hang out with the wife, watch shows, watch movies, take the dogs on walk, play some games here and there, do some virtual photography. But yeah, want to share a little bit more of my art soon, and I think that's pretty much it. That's
Nice. So, in terms of movies, you like horror typically, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
horror has
nice.
always been like a kind of like a guilty pleasure type of genre for me, where the movie, there's a good range of really bad horror movies and like some really good ones. Sometimes it's fun to watch like a really bad horror movie just
I
for
was gonna
fun.
say, I think that's fun. Yeah.
Like I think the last really, I mean, honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but I think the last kind of like B horror movie I've seen was the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
I
Did you
forgot
see
that
that one?
existed. No, I need to watch it, dude.
We watched it and it was actually super entertaining. Like it wasn't the best movie, but it was just like kind of funny to see those characters and that type of genre. So that was a funny one. But yeah, I love horror movies.
So the one that I thought was like a funky bad movie, good movie at the same time is Barbarian.
Oh, Barbarian. Yeah,
Oh, that was crazy. That was quite a
that
good
one
one.
It,
yeah,
it
it was
was
good.
the basement part, and I think you know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Creepy.
at first it's like, the movie's going and then all of a sudden it kind of kicks into like 10th gear really quickly and you're
I
like,
love
"Oh,
that.
Yeah.
okay." And it doesn't kind of
But
slow
what the
down
hell
after
is
that.
going on?
Yeah, that was an
No,
enjoyable one.
it's the dude that plays it. Isn't he gonna be in what's that vampire movie called?
Nosferatu.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't
From
wait. That's
the
from my
Bill
favorite
Skarsgård
director as
movie.
well,
Who's the director?
Robert Eggers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that one looks really cool. I love Bill Skarsgård. When that movie came out, that was like my favorite horror movie for like a long time. I just think he like killed it as
It's banging,
Pennywise.
dude. I
Yeah, it's a
agree.
great horror movie.
Does that translate to games as well?
Yes. I don't play as many horror video games as I actually would like to. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to I gotta be like in the right mood. Or not maybe not right mood, maybe the right like setting. Like I have to play it when it's like dark. The room has to be dark. I need to have like my headphones on. If any type of light is in the house or like my wife is like doing something, I'm like, I need to like be in like the vibe. I need to be like in the mood to
Right.
play a horror game. But I think the last couple horror games that I've played has the Dead Space remake. I grew up like the original Dead Space on PS3. That was probably my favorite horror game I've ever played until this
And
day.
scariest,
Dead
huh?
Space. Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. It holds the original hold up really well, but I mean the remake at this point is kind of like the definitive way to play it. I think so.
They
Um,
they nailed it, didn't they? The remake.
they
They
nailed it.
really just went above and beyond.
Oh yeah, they did they enhanced parts of the game, which I liked. I liked how they did it, where it was a faithful remaster, but they kind of enriched parts of the story and like parts of the game that the original either didn't have like the time or the budget or the technology to like really do that. So it was cool to see some aspects of the game slightly changed for the better of the overall story and gameplay. And yeah, I really enjoyed Dead Space remake. The only thing is I wish I had a photo mode. I'm super
That would
Yeah.
have
salty about that.
because the same people who made that made the Castillo game, right?
So
Or
the original Dead Space, the director was Glenn Schofield. So he worked on the Callisto Protocol. He made the new studio, Striking Distance Studios, and he worked on Callisto Protocol. But the new people who worked on the remake of Dead Space was I think Motive. So the developers were Motive, and I think the publisher was EA for
oh,
the Dead Space remake. Yeah.
I agree because I remember watching my brother play because I couldn't do it. It was horrific to me. I'm like I can't do it. But for me, I think the most scariest game I played and actually beat is Outlast. Ugh.
Oh my gosh, Outlast. Yes, that one was when that one came out, that one was terrifying. I was addicted to that when that first came out. Played that a couple times back to back. I don't know how I did it. Now I'm like, I tried playing it again, and I was like, I can't do this. I think it's just like the constant running, where it's
It
like you're
is.
so
Can't fight.
vulnerable. I was like, I can't, I
People
can't
just
do it.
grab you and shit. You're like,
Yes,
no.
I don't know how I did it. I was like much younger when it came out originally, but yeah, that was a fun one.
You know, the new one came out, and I think you could play with your friends. I don't know how it is though.
Oh yeah, the trial. You know what? I did pick that one up when it went on sale recently, and I told myself, okay, I need to play this with my friends because yeah, Outlast. That one was the whole world was pretty effed up in that
Right.
game, so that'd be a good setting for a multiplayer game.
Do you like the Resident Evil games?
Yeah, I do. I didn't grow up playing them like the originals and stuff. I the first one that I got into was Resident Evil 7 when that one came out, and
Okay.
that one was
That was scary. I
that
think that
was scary.
because you couldn't fight in most parts too, if I remember right.
That one was like you could. It was, that was, like, the first time they went,
Just
like,
had like
first
three
person.
bullets. Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah, I think, like, the ammo and stuff and, like, the stuff you find around was pretty,
I thought that was pretty dope. And then the eighth one, I actually did not beat that one.
I didn't I really I liked the 8th one.
Hmm.
I thought the strongest part of it was the beginning in the village, and when you're in the castle with, the vampires, that was,
Oh,
like,
it's so
probably,
fucking
like, the best part, and then after that, it was good. I just kind of like the vibe more of, like, the castle
right. I
setting.
did too. I did too. Okay. So the second question we got for you, okay, is how did you first become interested in virtual photography and what led you to pursue it as a creative outlet?
Oh, man. Well, I think the first time I really, like, figured out that you could take photos in games was Horizon Zero Dawn, I believe. 'Cause don't I might be wrong, but I think they came out with the photo mode when that game first came out. I can't 100% remember, but I do remember when it came out, I was, like, blown away with how when that game came out, those visuals for that game were
They're
so
insane, weren't
good. They were insane, like, it blew my mind how get video games could look that good, and I think that's where I started just, like, realizing that there were potential and, like, that you could take photos. This is before I even knew about, like, virtual photography community on Twitter and stuff, but it was pretty close. But yeah, I was like, "Oh, this game's beautiful." I started taking a little bit of photos, not too much, just like, screenshotting with the button on the PlayStation controller, just like here and there, like, "Oh, that looks cool. Take a picture." No editing or whatever. And then when Ghost of Tsushima came out, that photo mode really showed me what virtual photography really what kind of was at the time and what
right?
you could do with in-game camera tools like a photo mode. And it was just so easy to use too. I think that photo mode might be my favorite in terms of like accessibility and just how easy the buttons are mapped on the controller.
Mm.
It wasn't hard to use. It's super easy to use, which I like. There are a lot of good photo modes out there that I think have some really wonky button layouts that mess with my head when I'm trying to like get the shot I want. But Ghost of Tsushima, that really solidified like, okay, this is how photo modes should be like.
I
But
agree. That one, I Cynthia actually introduced me to that game, and I'm like, this. Well, first of all, the graphics,
oh
incredible.
yeah, that game is
Isn't it?
incredible. Yeah.
I was blown away by that, and also I do agree. I was seeing the photo mode, and at its time, I'm like, this. At the time that there was any photo mode, that was the best.
Oh
And
yeah, I still
I
think it might
agree.
be the best.
Yeah.
I think when the photo modes do have like the light sources, like I think Spider-Man, like
Oh,
Insomniac does a
right,
really
right.
really good job. Like they kind of like copy and paste like their photo modes across like their newer games like Ratchet and Spider-Man. But their photo mode is like really solid. Like that's another one I think it's really easy to use, which I like. But that one has like a couple things that Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have, like the light sources, poses, like a couple stuff. But yeah, that's the game that really showed me what photo mode could be and like what you could do with the tools.
Right.
And then back in, so I think back in 2022, this is the time when I was started to like talk to myself about, you know what, maybe I should start like sharing my photos with people. Because at this
Hmm.
time I started like taking photos, but I would just like store them on my phone. I wouldn't do anything with them. I would show my wife or my friends, whatever. But like nobody on the internet I would share that with stuff with.
Mhm.
So I was like, like maybe I'll do this, but I was like, nah, I don't think they're good enough. I think we all kind of struggle with that type of aspect to it, like sharing our work and stuff. But that was like the hardest struggle, I think, for me, was coming to terms with, okay, if I like my stuff, it's worth sharing it. But that took me probably like 3 to 6 months to really like get the urge to like, okay, I want to do it. But so I was like started accumulating a lot of photos, and like this is when I bought like Lightroom to like edit photos and play around with it and see if I liked it. And then when Callisto Protocol came out, I think by the like the last quarter of 2022, I believe,
Mhm.
that was like the first game that I started sharing on virtual photography. So I started sharing. I had an account on Twitter for like
Mhm.
since 2018, but that was more for just like catching up on like I used it mainly for keeping updates on like developers and my favorite video games and what video games were coming out, learning about like the industry and stuff. And then yeah, when Callisto Protocol came out in 2022, I loved that game. I was a huge fan of Glenn Schofield and Dead Space, so I was like, I'm gonna love this game. The photo mode it does what it needs to do. It's not like the best, but the game just looks so good that whenever you take a shot, it just always looks good. So it was kind of
Those
like a
are the
good
snap
game.
games, aren't they? The ones that like you don't really need to touch much
Yeah, yeah, the art direction
through
and like the
Lightroom.
lighting were just so good in that game where everything looked real. And that was the first game I started sharing on for my shots was from that game. So at
I
first
think
I
that's what I
was
remember you for
a little
too.
worried that people would be. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what the first game I started sharing was, because I'm sure, like, that's what the time I started sharing it was when that game came out, but I was a little worried at first when I was sharing the shots because I know that game's a little bit gory and, like, scary, and I don't know if everybody, like, likes that type of, like, grotesque, like, creatures and stuff type of thing, so I was a little worried sharing that type of shots at first, but I just did it anyway, and people started, like, liking it and didn't get really much likes at first, but had to grow and figure out how to do it. Like who to tag, what account
You
to
know what?
tag.
I'm glad you posted them anyway. Just because even if I'm glad first you had the courage to do it. I'm glad you also just
Mhm.
posted those photos, even if I don't know if it's the most popular game, but I know it's the most coolest looking game that I've seen in terms of horror.
Yeah, I honestly think it has The Last of Us running for its money when it comes to like graphics. Like I think the part 2 looks great. Like the animations, I think the animations of The Last of Us Part 2 is just you can't beat like their team Naughty Dog. They just know how to do animation. But
Right.
the Callisto Protocol, I think, is almost. I think that game showed me what next gen could look like in terms of like graphical fidelity. That game just nails that
It's
feeling.
supposed
Like it feels like it's next
Yeah.
gen. But yeah, that's and then I started, meeting some virtual photographers, started sharing stuff, making some friends here and there, and yeah,
That's a cool
I think
experience
that's pretty much
of
it for that.
Did you expect that?
No, I honestly didn't think I would like it as much as I did. Really, I mainly just wanted to do it for just like I mean, it is a hobby, but I was like, what, I'm gonna try like something else. Like, I'm not really in the mood to do any like digital art right now. Let's try something else. And the cool thing about virtual photography is that if you love video games, it's just another hobby inside of video games to do. So it's like another
Right.
excuse to play video games. So I'm like, who doesn't like that?
Right. You got something else out of it, and I Do you think that this is something you'll always do?
I do actually. Yeah, I can see myself doing it probably for as long as I can play video games. It's
I
and
agree. I have
yeah.
I don't see any other way either. Just because things are going to get better over
Oh yeah,
time.
I think the photo modes will for sure get better, and I think the more that the community grows around virtual photography, and that the more influence and like communication that we have with the developers and like share like our opinions about stuff like that, I think it's just gonna grow. Like I think it's still pretty infant of like a hobby or not hobby, I guess. You can call it a hobby, but the
Like an
community,
art style
yeah, like
or like
it's
yeah, I
still
get
pretty
it.
infant, so there's still lots of time, I think, for it to grow, and developers will figure out what people don't like and what we expect at the bare minimum for these type of things. But I understand that some developers probably don't have the time. That's why you kind of see a lot of developers release the photo modes after launch. It's like not a priority for them, and
Right.
they release it later, kind of like Stellar Blade.
I do like or do appreciate the devs who do see the potential in a photo mode and what it does. And I know Jack is always trying to get their interviews too, right, Jack?
Yeah, I actually had a really good one with Ironwood Studios yesterday,
What
and
studio was that?
Oh,
Ironwood Studio, they did Pacific Rim,
Oh,
Pacific Rim, sorry, Pacific Drive.
Pacific Drive. I was like, I love that movie.
Yeah, yeah, no, sorry, I always want to call it Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
Um,
I need to play that game, but that's really cool.
uh,
Yeah, I listened to that one interview you guys did with Kevin from Bend,
yeah,
and
oh
he's a great
yeah.
guy. He's super nice. I've talked to him a couple times on Twitter and stuff, and he's always super nice. But
It's cool that they give that type of interaction with us,
yeah,
right?
I hope.
Even being involved.
Yeah, I think I don't think it hurts anybody. Like I think having the community manager reaching out, I think is probably like the easiest way to like get in contact with the developers about photo modes and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's kind of like their job to like engage with the community. But
Right.
yeah, I'm hoping more developers in the future hear this type of community and like what they like and from the photo modes and I hope more games in the future
I,
come out with photo modes at launch. That's what my main
I
hope is.
and I think it will. I think over time it's definitely have to. I think even like I think Gorilla has gotten so much better in interacting. Before I didn't think they did as much, but then now it's like they're very consistent with it.
That's
sorry,
awesome.
who's that?
Yeah.
Gorilla,
Oh, Gorilla, yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great.
Okay,
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it when they talk with their community. That's it's a win-win for everybody. Free advertisement for the video
it
game,
is.
and it's a fan art. Like you always see the developers share artwork like digital art, paintings and stuff. But like I feel like
Right.
virtual photography kind of gets like swept under the rug a little bit. But now it's starting to like pick up a little bit more, I think.
exactly. It's just another form of expression, isn't it? An appreciation
Yeah,
for it.
for sure.
It really is. I think it does. I mean, it highlights the development way more than what any other medium can do as well, because
Oh
you're
yeah,
getting up close and you're zooming in and out and everything like that. It's
yeah, for sure. You can
yes,
appreciate like for me, like I since I love digital art and stuff, but as I got older and like really started playing like more games and being able to like buy my own games, so you have when you get your first job, you have like money, you can like buy yourself consoles and like video games. You want to play everything. So I I really got a love for like the development and like behind the scenes stuff of video games. Like I loved watching like the God of War documentary of the first one and like The Last of Us, like all those when they like post that stuff on YouTube, I would just like binge watch that stuff all the time just to get like inspired because
Right.
I just loved seeing like the process of that stuff. Like it's super intriguing to me. Like if I
Mhm.
had to pick any type of job in the world, it would be like some type of like hand in like development of like a video game or something. But so this is kind of like my like way of like living vicariously through the developers of my favorite games. So I'm like, oh man, that'd be so cool to do that. But like I love being able to see it. So
So, what would you say your top 3 games are then?
Top 3 games. I think my top 3 games would probably have to be Elden Ring, God of War. I want to say God of War 2018 just because that one kind of just like made my that made me fall in love with God of War. Like I think God of War Ragnarok is the better game, but God of War 2018 is such a strong like masterpiece when it comes to just like reinventing itself that game just blew my mind. And
Yeah, I was never a fan of the old
yeah,
ones, but
I didn't
going to the new ones, I love his growth.
yeah, as a character, yeah,
That's the thing, that's what
I
it
100%
was.
agree. I think when the first God of War came out, I was a little young for that. So, but my parents aren't super controlling when it came to video games. Like I play, I played like Mortal Kombat on like the Genesis. I played Mortal Kombat like on like arcade cabinets. Like so, I wasn't like not exposed to that type of stuff. But yeah, that was just a video game that growing up I didn't play was God of War. But when the new one came out, that one definitely sparked my interest when they were showing off trailers and stuff. So that one easily became one of my favorite games. And then not in order, but like God of War, Elden Ring, and I want to say Dead Space, just because that kind of shaped my love for horror going forward. Like I
Those are good
yeah,
3 ones, I think. Yeah, I
like
agree.
I grew up watching like Alien, and what is the other one? It's another really good one.
Oh, have you played the Alien game?
No, I have not.
Oh,
It's
no
I
way.
hate myself so
fun,
much because I was
man.
like, why have I not played this? I know I would love it, but I'm like
Dude, that
so.
shit is terrifying.
I know. I might.
You know what happened? Like, I got to the beginning of it, man, and I got into, like, a little crevice, and he was fucking running after me, and I turned off the fucking console. That was too scary.
Oh man.
Like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
You have to
I know.
because you're a horror
I know.
gamer.
That's the one horror game people always say, like, you need to play Isolation, you need to play it, and I'm like,
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of like Alien, like Prometheus, Covenant, like I love those movies, but just never played it. I don't know why, but I have it. I just need to really I need to sit down and really
I
play
am
it.
deeply disappointed
I
in
know,
you.
I'm so you know what? I knew you were gonna say that. The moment I was like, "Yeah, I love, like, horror," for some reason, I knew this was gonna come up, and I knew you were gonna grill me for it.
We're gonna get bullied.
Yeah, I knew
I
it.
know. But don't worry, like, there's so much shit I haven't even played or watched.
Not enough
So
time in the world, you know?
Elden Ring, right? When you wish that would have a fucking photo
Oh
mode.
my gosh. Yeah.
We all think that way. Okay, let's start with the next questions. One by Steffi. Lenny! That's what she
Oh my
said.
gosh.
Who is your favorite Red Dead Redemption 2 character?
Oh, man. Well, Lenny was a great character up to a point of the story. But I have to say that Arthur Morgan is the obvious choice. I think, I played the first one. I know this is a prequel to like the original. So I played the original and I loved it. Never thought we would ever get a Red Dead Redemption 2. So when that one came out, I was addicted to it too. And yeah,
It's still one of the best to
it's
in my opinion.
I haven't played it since launch. Like I beat it, loved it, was addicted to it, put like 200 hours into it, and then something just not doesn't there's something about it that like I'm like I can't go back to it. Maybe I think I'm just like I think I realized that how the movement, the traversing of the character. I think it feels so sluggish to move Arthur sometimes, and
Yeah, it's very clunky.
I think I got spoiled with some other games that really showed me like, oh, this is like what like this character feels like good to like move around, but like I think Rockstar just has like the same type of feeling when it comes to like controlling their characters. Grand Theft Auto feels like the same way, where you have to
Especially on
spam the
vanilla.
X button, to like get your guy to like
It's so
sprint, and I'm like,
stiff.
my hand is tired. Like, can I just like
Yeah, no.
hold R1 to run like Last of Us or something? But um, yeah, Arthur Morgan for sure. I think is my favorite. Seeing him grow as like a character was like you really feel like he was like a real character, a real person. playing as him. And
What you mean, Bran? He is.
yeah, he is. He was.
Aw.
Yeah.
So the second question we got here from Steffi is, so what's your most anticipated game coming for this year?
Oh man, there are so many games coming out this year that I'm super excited for. But again, not enough time to play everything. I will make time, even with this newborn. I will make time.
You and your
I will make
lists,
time. Yeah, me
okay?
and my list. Like I have a list. I literally have a
You have
whole
a
list on
list.
my
I need
phone of all the games, like what games are coming out in July, what games are coming out in August, because I need a budget. And I need to budget my time.
Do you have your list,
I do
by
have
the
my
way?
list right here, actually.
Can you read it
I
out
will.
to me?
It's in my
Yeah.
phone. Let's see. Games coming out in 2024. So June was Elden Ring. Nothing was coming out in July, I don't think. August, Black Myth Wukong. That's the next game I'm really excited about.
Oh, that's gonna be
I
sick.
am so
Yes, I
excited about that game. Concord in August 23rd. That one, I played the beta of Concord, and I actually really, really liked it. I'm looking forward to it. August 26th is Star Wars Outlaws. That's another one
that's
I
fine.
am super
That
excited
one.
about. Huge Star Wars fan. September is Astrobot. Really excited about that one. Dead Rising remaster. Never really got into the original, but my cousin grew up playing Dead Rising and loved it, so he's like, "You need to play it when this remaster comes out. You'll love it."
That's fucking fun,
And
dude.
then October, Silent Hill 2 remake. That's probably gonna be the next horror game I'm probably gonna be addicted to is Silent Hill 2. And then November is Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm gonna give this one a try because I really liked Mirage a lot. I platinumed it. Didn't take too long. It was like a good 40 hours to platinum. I loved it. It felt cool to play because it felt more like the original. Had a little more emphasis on the parkour, And I grew up playing the original Assassin's Creed, so I kind of like that soft spot for the original feeling of those games. So when Odyssey and Origins came out in Valhalla, I kind of lost interest in that era of Assassin's Creed, mainly for just the bloat of the content, was just there's just so much game there and so much to do, and it kind of got overwhelming for me. Plus the combat just didn't really click with me too much in that game. Wasn't really a big fan of the RPG mechanics too much. I think the game looks beautiful though. I think the games do look amazing, and the shots that I always see from people like Raven on Twitter, uh,
Yeah.
the games look
Mm-hmm.
great. And Assassin's Creed
And I
Shadows,
think it's hard to play them if you work a lot or you
yeah,
have a family,
yeah.
especially if it's that bloated. It. I think that's why it took me so long to beat Avatar 2 days
Oh my
ago.
gosh, you just beat that? You've been
It took
playing that
me
game
like-
forever.
yes, I know. Since May or
Oh my
since
gosh.
April shit. So I agree. The next question I have for you, Brent, from Steffi is, what do you have, and do you have an all-time favorite? If so, which game is it, and how did you find out? Oh wait, about VP, I think we already discussed that. Let's go to Aaron's question. Your sets are always so good. Do you plan them?
Um, usually I do not plan my shots. I'm a very go with the flow type of guy. I do like planning stuff and certain things in my life, but when I play video games, I just want to
Lists?
chill out and enjoy video games, enjoy my
Yeah.
time at the house and stuff. But there are times where I'll look at the home screen of all the games I've installed or whatever, and I'll be like, okay, what game? Kind of test myself. I'm like, okay, what game should I do photos in? So I'll just pick a game, randomly pick a game, and then I will be like, okay, what should I take pictures of? Should I do scenery? Should I do portrait? So I do some type of planning sometimes, not very often, but when I do, I really get into it. But most of the shots that I do share are more just of me. I play the game, and if I see something I like, I'll pause it, you know, get a picture of something and rotate the camera around the environment, try to get a range of different type of shots of where I'm at, and then continue playing. And then after I'm done with my session, then I'll download the photos from the console via the PlayStation app on my phone, and then open them up in Lightroom and edit them. But recently recently I have not been trying to edit them outside the photo mode, just because I'm trying to push myself when it comes to using the tools that the developers give you in the photo mode to really just use what I have, and then if I need,
Yeah, that's
and if I
awesome.
need to like adjust certain things, like add a couple things that the photo mode doesn't have, I'll do that in post. Where I really like film grain. Like most of my shots I like to shoot, I like to go for more like a cinematic feel. Like I feel like I don't have like a style per se, but I definitely like more of like that cinematic look with like a little bit of film grain and that nice depth of depth of field on the characters or the environment. But yeah, that's kind of like how I do it.
Your pictures have been amazing, but they got even better. I wanted to mention that. Like every time I
Thank
see your
you.
stuff, I'm like, that Bran is killing
Thank
it.
you. I really, I honestly do feel like I've gotten better too. I think I just gotten, I think I just like kind of grown as an artist when it comes to like having that eye for certain things. Like I'm not trying to like, sound like cocky or anything, but I do when you do art, growing up is doing art and you do it every day. You kind of learn the tools, and like your art gets better as you get more familiar with the tools. And I definitely felt that way with virtual photography, where I always had that creative spark to make things, but it is another challenge in itself when it comes to photo modes and like virtual photography. And because it's almost like you have so much freedom to do things, especially when the photo mode's really good. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes. Where you're like, man, like I could take so many different things with photos, but it's like, what do I do? But yeah,
That's how I felt with the Days Gone photo mode at first, but then I got used to it.
yeah,
But I definitely agree with that.
yeah. I mean, if we have time today, I would love to talk about like certain features and stuff, photo modes that I want more developers to have. I think one of them is in.
How about you talk about
Okay,
that?
yeah,
I would love to
sure.
hear from
So,
you about that.
um, one of like the really small things I would love some of these photo modes to have would be, I think I can't remember what game does this. I know a game does it that I played recently, but when you like mess with like the edits of like the filters or like the settings in the photo mode and you exit the photo mode and then you like enter the photo mode again, it'll like remember your settings of like what you had before you closed it. I want that to be either like a standard in photo modes or a toggle switch to allow that to happen in photo modes going forward. Because there's so many times where I'm like, I'll edit a photo and I'll get like, man, I love the color of like how I edited this, or like the contrast, or the film grain. Like everything just looks right, and I'm like, man, I want to make like a set of photos like this feel. I want to have like a cohesive set to share with people. That would help
That would
so
be dope.
much to be able to like have more of a cohesive set to share, like on Twitter or whatever. And yeah, that would definitely help. Obviously, I feel like most people probably want better camera range for sure. I feel like that's like everybody screams at developers, please give us like, don't give us just orbital camera. Like, I don't want to be locked to the character. Like God of War, God of War, I don't think it's the worst photo mode, but like sometimes I think it's just like the camera needs to have way more freedom to like move around. But yeah, way better camera range. Let me like be able to clip through the ground if I have to, like if there's an object in my way, let me like clip through the object. Let me just really stretch that camera range out so I can really,
Have you played A Plague Tale
I played the first one.
Requiem?
I played the first one when it first came out.
Oh
Loved it.
no, Bran. Oh my
I
god.
know, I know. You know what? This is perfect. This is a
Maybe
perfect
play
time.
that when it'll be fast to beat, I
Okay.
promise. Like, cause the photo mode is fucking insane, right, Cynthia? Oh my god. Um, it's insane. I think the graphics are
Yeah.
amazing, and you could do a little bit of clipping,
You
by the way.
called?
Perfect. I love that.
Can I feel like you could. Well, I know that the camera was crazy. I think you could even pull out the photo mode during a cutscene.
You can,
Yeah,
yeah.
didn't Hellblade 2 do that?
And the first Hellblade.
And the first one had that as well, really.
Yeah, first one
Wow,
had that as
that's
well.
ahead
I
of
think you
time,
could
I feel like.
only. Oh, 100%. You couldn't open it in every single cutscene, but I mean, it was like 5 cutscenes you couldn't really open it in. It was
It
yeah,
probably was
very.
just, yeah, it was probably just like it was probably the pre-rendered cutscenes that you couldn't, and then like everything else was probably like rendered in real time. So that's probably why you can open like the photo mode. But that's awesome.
But you would adore it, and it's fucking. Well, it's definitely horror. That's all I'll say.
Yes, you know what? Speaking of lists, I should make another list of what games I need to frickin' finish and beat. And that's definitely one of them. I absolutely love the first one, and I keep telling myself
The vibes are different. That's all I'll say too.
I know. I'll do it one day. I will. I'll add it to my list, and hopefully, when I do play it, you'll see some shots.
Awesome, man. So okay, so from the software games, right? Besides Elden Ring, what's like your second best favorite from there?
Probably Sekiro, for sure.
That is fucking hard.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
That
though.
one, I feel like, when it comes to like From Software's like gameplay design choices and stuff, I feel like Sekiro is like the hardest one to get into because that one plays so differently than the other ones. Like the other ones is like you're dodge rolling and you're attacking. And then in Sekiro, you're attacking and you're deflecting, and you really aren't dodging too much. Like there's no like iframes when it comes to like there's no like dodge roll like where you like freaking barrel roll on the floor. It's like you jump, like you can sidestep
Right.
a little bit. I don't think there's iframes, but you can like jump backwards, which is more useful. But the whole gameplay is like feels way different, and it's a little bit more like instead of attacking the boss and then like running away from the boss and like dodging and like trying to look for another opening, it's like Sekiro wants you and demands you to stay in front of the boss. Like you're gonna be in front of the boss and you're gonna attack and you're gonna defend and you're gonna attack and you're gonna defend and you're gonna do that for like 3 minutes and you're gonna learn the boss. And I think that's why that one is probably my second. If I had honestly, I love Elden Ring, but if I had to choose a From Software game that had the best combat and I want that to go forward in their future games, I would pick Sekiro. I would be like, I want more gameplay like Sekiro. Give me like a lot of content like Elden Ring, but give me more of combat similar to Sekiro.
And I want the vibes like Bloodborne.
Yes. Where's the remake of Bloodborne? Blue Point?
I was playing Bloodborne with, I was trying to play Bloodborne with Cynthia, and I've ended up playing with watching us, and like.
And Nick's going to appear in a minute now. We're
An incredible game, and I hope this. He's gonna talk a lot. Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, just making sure. I think you were cutting out a little bit. I wasn't sure if I was cutting out.
No, I think it's definitely B.
Either.
Right. In the meantime, I shall ask some questions from the comments. Can you hear me, Bran?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah. So we've got so we've got a question from Gib84 Gaming. What photo mode? Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, don't know what the hell that was.
Sorry, when you said B, I thought you were talking to me. Like, can you hear me? So I was like,
sorry, man. Sorry.
I was like, crap. But okay, so it's Bianca, not me. Okay, it's your
yeah. Sorry, man.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jack.
You good?
Yes. Did you ask a question like for him?
Sorry, yeah. From Gib84 Gaming, it is what photo mode do you really like that doesn't get enough exposure?
A photo mode that I like that does not get as much exposure. Wow, that's a really great
tough
question.
That one, isn't it?
Well, man. Well, maybe I should name off games that have good photo modes. Maybe that'll help me realize. Well, Ghost of Tsushima has a great photo mode. I feel like that game gets a lot of recognition for it. Man, not enough recognition. I think. Let me look through my library of games. I honestly think Callisto Protocol's photo mode is pretty good. I don't think it has I don't
That's
think it
a good
has
one.
the best camera range. But I think in terms of how easy it is to use, I think that one I think it's pretty underrated. I think Death Stranding has a good photo mode. I don't know if people talk about that one too much. No Man's Sky has like an amazing photo mode. I don't think I hear people talk about that one too much. Like the camera range itself.
Have you played the Metro games, Bran?
I have.
Metro Exodus.
I played a little bit of Exodus. I really, really liked it. I played the originals. Really enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of like Fallout with like gameplay of like Call of Duty, like the original Call of Duties. A little bit like slower, but it was super like atmospheric, and like the story was really good. I feel like that game was like ahead of its time when it came out. Honestly, I feel like that game did not get enough love. Was Metro.
See, I feel the same. Like I didn't enjoy Fallout 4 all that much, and then Metro Exodus came out, and I thought, man, this is exactly what I wanted Fallout to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know it.
It's
yeah,
a perfect
awesome.
game. I fucking love it.
I agree. That game is like so underrated, and I think Exodus kind of helped out with like the popularity of it. I think Exodus got way more like mass market appeal for some reason. Like that, I think like the of them like advertising it got way more time. But the other ones, yeah, that series is for sure underrated. But when it comes to like Exodus, I didn't beat it yet. I kept playing it up to the same part and then dropping it. I would get like to like the desert, like the deserty area, get pretty far into there, and I think I just like I don't know if I like just lost interest or like other games came out. I might have just been busy with other games coming out, but when I was playing it, like it felt great. It looked great. Like the visuals look amazing in that game. Yeah, that's another title I really need to sit down and play. Yeah.
Hey, Jack, do we have any questions with the comments?
We do indeed. We got one from Damon.
Oh, hi, Damon.
Of all the games you've played, which would you say is the game that you continually go back to, whether it's for virtual photography or to just chill?
Oh man. I think the easy choice for me is probably Elden Ring. I know Elden Ring doesn't have a photo mode, but I make do with their end game. They have like an end game item in Elden Ring where like you can like equip a telescope.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people.
Yeah, so
do that.
that's what I do. Where like I want to get like if I want to get like a landscape shot, I'll like turn off the HUD and the options and like whip out the telescope, and you can zoom in a little bit in the telescope, not too much, but you can get like a good zoom. And you know, I really try to do some shots in Elden Ring. If there was any game that needed a photo mode, I would say Elden Ring, hands down, because just like the art direction and like the landscapes of like seeing like a castle super far away and like the fog rolling over and like you can like just
I agree, and I saw the DLC, and oh my,
yes, it's
the
just
flowers,
the color
and
palette,
oh
the color palette itself when it comes to like the DLC and like Elden Ring, like they nail just the colors and like the art direction. That game is just a masterpiece. But that's the game I've played the most within the last like 2 years. Like I'm kind of embarrassed how many hours I put into that game. Like, did you guys do like the PlayStation Spotify? You know, like the Spotify kind of like the Spotify wrap up thing. You guys know what that is? And like PlayStation started doing something similar to that. I think a couple years ago. Well, they'll email you like that link, and you can see like all the games you play and like how many trophies and stuff like that.
yes, I remember that.
When that came out, after Elden Ring came out, I was like flabbergasted how many hours I played compared to the other games. I think it was like 90% or something of like my time that year was Elden Ring. And yeah, Elden Ring for sure is like my go-to. If I want to chill, Elden Ring for some reason. I'm a masochist. I don't know.
That's your
That's my
comfort game.
I keep telling my wife this, and I think she's understanding this slowly. Where, I think there's like when it comes to like From Software games, there's like a stigma around it where it's like, oh, they're so hard, they're so hard, and like how can you enjoy dying over and over again? And I'm like, well, it's not just about like the satisfying combat or the gameplay itself. It's the exploration, the characters, the story. Even if like the story is super convoluted at times, it's fun to find items and like read the lore on the item and kind of try to figure out some stuff yourself. That's my comfort game, because I always feel like so at home in their games and those worlds, and there's always like that sense of, I don't know, like adventure, and I just love just like their whole design philosophy when it comes to their games. I think From Software is just like so, you can't like it just I don't think any other developer gets close to like their world building in their games, and I just love Elden Ring so much.
Which reminds me, everybody who has a comfort game, list them down below. So we have a question for you. It's a good one, and it's a good to reflect on this. How has your virtual photography community impacted your journey? And can you share any notable experiences or interactions that have been meaning to you?
Oh man. Let's see. I think we spoke about a couple things that happened during like my journey in virtual photography. Some that like kind of come to mind right away is the studio that worked on Lords of the Fallen, the new one. They reached out. I played that game when it came out, and released some shots here and there, not too much, but some shots. And one of the developers reached out to me saying, "Hey, like I like your shots. Can we use them for the patch notes?" And I was like, "Yes, like that's of course you can." And
Please.
I was like, that was like so cool. I was like, man, that's I don't know if I'll ever get that opportunity again, but the fact that like my photos will forever be in like that version, the patch notes for that game, is kind of cool. So I was like super excited about that. And that was definitely one of the more exciting parts of the journey so far. And then another one was I was one of the winners. I think there was a couple other winners for the Ghostwire Tokyo game. They did like a
That's a
competition.
really good game.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome,
another
man.
game that I got so close to beating it. I think I got to the point of the game where a message popped up and it said, this is like a point of no return. Make sure you do these a couple quests or you'll be locked out before you continue." And I was like, man, okay, I'll come back and like do some quests and like come back and finish it. I never did. But I loved it. Like the game looked amazing. The photo mode of that game, I think, doesn't get enough love. Jack, that's a good one. Ghostwire Tokyo, that photo mode. King
Oh,
on
mate.
Twitter, he always posts, like he does a lot of Spider-Man these days in like No Man's Sky, but he used to do a lot of Ghostwire Tokyo and it still does. But his shots I love him sharing his shots because he utilizes a lot of like the the character models. Like I think that game has a lot of options to like shuffle through different character models to like place in the scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a super underrated feature in photo modes, is like character models and like put them in the environment. I thought that was super cool. So whenever he posts photos, it's always like he puts different character models around in his photos, and I'm like, man, that's super cool that you can do that.
I like the art style that they took there too. I haven't played, but just by seeing Ari post pictures of it
Yeah.
as well, I'm like, I gotta come
Yeah, the
around
character designs
and play
are
that
great.
game.
Like if you the combat isn't too hard either. I thought the combat was like just enough challenge, but it's not like frustrating. It's more like it's definitely on the easier side, but I really liked the combat of that. Like the character, like the enemy designs were super super cool. Yeah, I think that was another highlight. But I definitely think my favorite thing to happen to me, because I have to give a lot of credit to this person, was Jinxie. She was like the
Yeah,
first she was
Jinxie.
like the first friend that I made in this community. So when I first started sharing my shots, I don't know how it happened, but like I before I started sharing my shots, I was following a lot of like developers, a lot of like video games, and I started like, following virtual photography people because their stuff would keep popping up. So I started following a bunch of people before I even started sharing. And I think she was one of the people that like would constantly be on my feed. And yeah, I think it was one day I was just like commenting, like, like I like your shot. I kept doing that when I ever see your stuff. Not every time, but just like occasionally. And then I don't remember the whole story, but I think we eventually just started like, DMing each other on Twitter, just being supportive of each other and saying their shots are great. And then she like reached out to me one day saying that, would you like to, help out with the VGP network on Twitter? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great, And so she did definitely put like a good word in for me in that community, and definitely helped me feel welcome for sure. I think that was like,
It's all these little angels here,
yeah,
right?
that
It's
was,
the
yeah,
best
yeah. I
feelings.
can't stress that
And I
enough.
hope she hears this because I think that was such a nice thing for you to shout out.
Yeah, I don't know, what happened. I don't, whatever she is right now. I hope she's okay. She, yeah, that was definitely probably my favorite moment, was how welcome she was, and how much that like one person can really influence many other people in this community. And I think that's something that I would love to tell people, is like, if you're just getting into like virtual photography and you're not sure about your shots, everybody feels that way. Every single person, I guarantee it, who just started sharing photos, felt the same way that you do. And that's just like the first step, is like, if you take the shots, post the shots, and good things will come to you. People, you'll reach audiences of people that will like your shots. You might not always get like a bunch of likes or like retweets or like recognition from the developers, as much as that's like amazing. If you only strive for the recognition and like the attention, you're always going to be let down. And I think that's like my biggest pet peeve when it comes to like this hobby, is like, there were just so many people in the early days of like me starting to share my shots, that I would just, my feed would be constantly filled with people just complaining about not getting recognition or attention. And I'm not going to call out names. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I think that's very rude. But I don't like that. That to me just kind of gives like a bad it's bad vibes, and just nothing comes from it. And when I don't think they realize that when you do complain about that on the internet, you're complaining about that to the people who are following you. So in a way, it's kind of like a stab at your followers for not liking your stuff. So whenever I post something and like one day I get like 100 likes and another day I get like 50 likes, I know it's probably either that, um, you know, there's a time of day of posting your
Hmm.
shots definitely factor in sometimes. Like, the time of day you post your shots definitely have a factor. What game you post definitely has a factor. There's so many factors that could be into it. It'll never.
Dude, yeah, it's very algorithm
Yeah,
based. You
yeah,
post, like, let's say if you post Metro, it's not going to hit it as hard as, let's say, what, Horizon,
yeah, for sure.
you
Yeah,
know?
so like I feel like
So I
yeah,
agree.
so it's just like, I try to
Good
yeah, I
advice,
try to
man.
distance myself from people like that. Um, I don't initially go. I don't block people straight away like that. I'll just try to tell the app, hey, I don't want to see so much of this person. Can you just like not? And the algorithm will try not to do that for me. But then if it gets bad to the point where like they're really starting to like, bring my mental state down, like seeing this stuff over and over again, I'll block them. Like, I'm not afraid of blocking people. If you're like spreading negativity, and that's all I
Hmm.
see, block. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna give you the light of day. I'm sorry.
Hey man, that's why it's there.
Exactly.
I mean, this is your space, and you create it the way you wanted to create it.
Yeah. So,
Jack, do you have any more comments?
We do have plenty of comments. So this one's from Peter Pip. What's your favorite thing about From Software games? What's your favorite From Software boss? And man, I don't even know how to pronounce those names. And did you use someone to beat Orstein or Orstein?
oh, okay. So first question, it was, what's my favorite From Software game?
Yeah.
Definitely Elden Ring. Close second is Sekiro. If I had to pick a third runner-up, I would probably say Bloodborne. Yeah. Honestly, they're all so good. They're all so good that like it's hard to like rate them all. They're all so different and so good at what they do that they're all great games. But yeah, definitely Elden Ring for sure. But that's probably just recency bias for me.
Is that how you say Smo?
I think it's Smaug. Or no, that's like that's the Hobbit.
Yeah, that's the Hobbit, man.
I think it's Smo. I think it's Smo. Like Ornstein and Smo, I think. Could be wrong.
Could be wrong.
What was the question? If I use summons? You know what?
Yeah, I think you.
When that game first came out, I think it was like what, probably like 2009, 2008. I was like much younger then. Definitely not as good at Souls games for sure. Definitely gotten better, I think. You know what? I'm probably gonna say yeah. At the very least, I summoned what's his name? Solaire. There's like an NPC, I think. Like if you're like in human form in Dark Souls 1, I think there's like a summon sign like on the floor in front of the boss room, I think, where you can like summon one of like what
Is that the dude that says praise
yes,
the sun?
exactly. That's
Some
that
shit.
guy. Like I'm pretty
Okay.
sure you can summon him for that fight. I can't remember 100%, but yeah, I'm sure I use summons. And honestly, like use summons, man. Like like developers put that in there for a reason. Even like the director of Elden Ring and like all the Souls games, he said that he sucks at his games and he uses summons. So developers put it in the game for a reason. I use summons all the time because that's one of the aspects of the game I enjoy. Is like the community around those games, the summoning of like helping people out in their world fighting a boss. Maybe like leading.
Dude, I had a friend who totally like helped me throughout the whole fucking game.
It is great, honestly. Like,
but that was how I like to play.
Yeah,
I don't like to play that game by myself.
That's a perfect way of playing it. Honestly, that's how you get somebody into those games. I feel like if someone's afraid to play the game, get a friend who knows how to play those games and just like help them explore. Maybe show them like little secrets here and there. Like, oh, like there's a cool item over here. Let's go grab it. Or like, let's just explore around together. Yeah. I think I definitely use summons. I think in Dark Souls 1 on those two bosses. And then the third question was what, Jack?
It was. Sorry, he's shouting at me now. He said, "What's his favorite thing about From Software games?"
Oh, favorite thing about From Software. Probably the exploration. I know the exploration feels a little bit different in all of them, especially from like the Dark Souls trilogy compared to Elden Ring. Elden Ring is like open world, and Dark Souls and Bloodborne are way more linear. That doesn't mean that any of the other couple of games don't have exploration. It's a little bit more linear that way, but there are like tons of like, there's like shortcuts you can find a way back to like the boss room, or like, cool little secrets. Like they're like the invisible walls. You have to like hit them with your sword a bunch of times to figure out like, is this a wall? Nope. Is this a wall? Nope. And like, just trying to figure out little like nooks and crannies. I think that's probably my favorite thing about those games, of their games, is the exploring around the environments and finding secrets.
Have you found a secret wall that not even a message was there? To tell you or no?
You know what? Probably. I think sometimes the whole messaging, because you can like leave messages on the floor for people like, oh, like
Right.
there's a wall here, but that person is totally joking with you and it's not a wall. But that one message has like a billion likes. You're like, what the hell?
You don't trust them,
What the
man.
hell? And then there'll be like a message like before that message saying that guy's a liar, and like people will just like like have like a whole train of messages like this guy's a liar, this guy's a liar. Just like, I probably did, but I won't lie. I love reading people's messages. I love the community helping each other out like that. I think it's so funny.
Peter Pip says that he doesn't summon, he invades.
Oh yeah, me too. I love invading.
He is
I
a
love
menace,
messing people's
man.
games up. Yeah,
Oh,
part of the
so
game.
evil.
I know. I don't try to be like toxic about it. Like, there's definitely like invaders in my career of playing these games where like their whole sole purpose is to make you so miserable. Like, they'll like attack you and then just like run away and hide to the point where like they're just waiting for you to come out like at the boss. Like, I don't know. There's so many ways to be like abusive and stuff
Bro,
like
my
that.
stomach always drops whenever I see like the red letters. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah,
Because my shit's not set up to fight like people.
I know.
I got whatever I got from the world. I'm like, oh, I can't fight them. I don't know what to do. So usually I just try and run away, but they're still in there.
Yeah,
It's so scary.
I like invading too. I think I did a lot more invading in Elden Ring than the past games. Dark Souls 3 for sure. Elden Ring, they added like the Coliseum mode where you can like fight like 1v1 people. So it's really not like invasions. It's more just like you're dueling people. Like, you're gonna fight somebody. But in invasions, it's more like you're playing with a friend and all of a sudden, you know, John Elden Ring comes in and like whacks you with a stick, But yeah.
The only time I ever killed somebody is when I Spartan kicked somebody off a elevator,
Yeah,
like by
that's the way to
accident.
do it, Kick them off the edge.
I meant to do that. Yeah.
So you're the patches. You're the patches in real life.
Sure. Hey, do we have another comment?
We do. Let's have a look. Sorry.
Ooh, you're getting some comments.
Cool. Let's do it.
This is from Keller. What is the first video game you ever played, if you can remember?
Oh my gosh. First video game I've ever played.
If it's not already been answered, what's your most favorite feature in a photo mode that makes you instantly fall in love?
Okay. First video game I've ever played. That is like probably like the toughest question I think I've ever heard in my life. I don't 100% know. I do remember like my first consoles that I had. So when I was younger, my dad grew up, like, my whole family was like always into like, garage sales and stuff, and like going to the swap meet and like, buying like people's old stuff, and people were always selling boxfuls of, their old consoles and their games and stuff. So when I was younger, before I even had like my first Game Boy, it was a box full of like, I think I had like a Genesis, like a Sega Genesis, and like a box full of like 10 copies of like Madden or something. Um, it My first video game probably had to be like, I would say probably like Pac-Man maybe. Like, I did grow up playing a lot of arcade games. I would go bowling with my grandma a
How about
lot.
like handheld or like a console? Do you kind of remember what type of the first game it would be?
Yeah, I do remember like having my first Game Boy for sure. Like, that was like my first new console, like handheld gaming thing, was definitely the Game Boy Advance. That was like the first new
Ooh, what
gaming.
color?
It was like the clear blue one.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I had a purple one.
Yeah.
The clear,
Oh my
translucent
gosh, yeah.
purple
My
one.
sister had that one, I think, or it was like a pink one. But yeah, I had like the clear blue one, and I am like 100% sure that's like the first new gaming device I had was that. So the first game I think I played was like Tony Hawk, I think, or something like that. I can't remember the exact what it was. Like, maybe I think it was like Tony Hawk Underground, something like that.
Awesome game.
Yeah, I remember it being great. I was a little kid, but like, that game kept me occupied so much.
Yeah, honestly, he should have remastered them.
Didn't they not? I feel like didn't like a new Tony Hawk like remaster come out like last couple of years?
They had Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Oh, Pro Skater.
But they didn't.
Pro Skater. Okay.
Yeah, which were okay, but yeah, the Underground 1 and Underground 2 were god tier.
Did you guys ever play Tony Hawk Project 8 on PS3?
Yeah, I played that.
Remember that one?
Yeah. Okay, this sounds really weird, but the only Tony Hawk game I ever played was actually at a McDonald's.
Oh my gosh! And like you're playing on like the grimy controller.
Yes, or all the fucking fries, salt on it, and all the germs.
Some kid just banging on like the little like clear dome on the playground.
Yes,
like, dum, dum, dum.
But I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
That's only Tony Hawk I played, by the way.
Oh yeah, I remember playing Tony Hawk Project 8 on the PS3, and like there was like that one map where it was like a theme park, and there was like this like there was like a grind rail that I think went up like a statue of like a dinosaur or something, and me and my cousin would always laugh so much because when you grind in that game and you like activate the ragdoll off of a grind, your character will just like launch super far. So we would just like laugh so much. We would just like go off ramps and just ragdoll our characters, and our character would just like launch across the map. That was good times.
That's fucking fantastic. I played this 18-wheeler game. I know it's going off topic, but that they had the most crazy like ramps, and you would just go so far if you go off them. I think it was like a PS2 game or something like that.
It wasn't like MT. It wasn't like the. God, what was it called? Like, it was like something Unleashed or something like MX.
Yes,
like,
I think it was
like a 4-wheeler one. Like, or you can have like a motorcycle.
Yes.
You can have like a little ATV, and it was like there would be like the whole map would be like the edge of the map would be like a really sheer cliff, and then like after that would be like there would be like no map. It would just be like an endless void plane, and then if you get too far, your character will like blow up. Like the game will like launch you on purpose away. And
that was the goal. It's just launch it.
Like, oh my god, the memories. Like I did that so much as a kid. Like I think I played that on the computer. I think like on my shitty computer when I was a kid. But yeah, that was great. And I think it was on PS2. You know, it probably was on PS2. I think you were right, Bianca.
Okay, we have a really interesting question. How do you balance your passion for virtual photography with other interests such as video games, digital art, movies, spending time with your pets and loved ones?
Hey, if you figure it out, let me know. Because that's like the question. That's like asking me what's the meaning of life. Like, I don't know.
Man,
I mean, I really don't know I really don't know how to answer that because, I feel like when you're I don't know how old you are, but when you're younger and you're playing video games, you definitely have like that a lot more time, and you don't have a job. You're just going to school or something, and you're playing video games, and you feel like, oh man, like I have so much time to play video games. And then now that I'm 30, just had my first kid a couple days ago, I know my time for anything is going to be it's going to be pretty much around my child now. So doesn't mean that I'm going to give up things, because I am not going to give up my hobbies. That's how you stay sane. You have to make time to do things regardless. Like, so I know my gaming time's probably going to diminish. Probably won't be able to go to a lot of movies for a while. I think I did get the okay though to go see the new Alien movie by myself, because my birthday is today, and I think the new Alien's coming out on the August 16th. So my wife was like, you know what, I'll take care of the baby. You can go see the movie. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go alone. Like, I don't think I've gone to the movie alone, like, ever. But I was like, I really want to see this movie. So she's like, you know what? If you think about it, I'll buy the tickets, whatever. So you just kind of have to like make time.
That
You
is
kind
so
of just have to make
sweet.
time, honestly. You're not gonna have time to do everything. I I guess the only cool, I mean, like, not the only thing. I guess the cool thing about virtual photography is that you can decide if you want to like beat this level or do do photos. So it's kind of like you're doing two hobbies at once. So it's like that's kind of easy, but you can't like, you know, do other things while you play video games. I guess you can in a way, like maybe listen to music, or I guess you could watch movies depending on like what you're playing on. But yeah, I guess you just gotta pick and choose what you wanna use your spare time
Want to do,
on.
right?
But I'm for sure gonna use my spare time to hang out with the wife, watch movies. Because the baby's gonna sleep a lot. Like the baby, like I have a newborn, so the baby's gonna sleep a lot. I know he's gonna wake up a lot, need some feeding, changing. But I told the wife, I was like, okay, when this baby's born, we're just gonna have to watch more movies. There's a lot of movies. We have a list together too, like shows we need to catch up on, what movies we gotta watch. So I was like, okay, this is a perfect time to like spend time with each other more, because we're kind of bad at that. Like we're married and we live in the same house, but it's like she has her hobbies and I have my hobbies. So whenever like she's off of work, and I'm off of work, we'll say hi to each other, like we'll, eat dinner, eat food or whatever. And then she'll be like, all right, bye-bye. I'm going upstairs to crochet. I'm like, all right, bye. And then I'll like do my games or whatever.
That's a really good balance right there.
Yeah.
Just finding the time.
Find the time
And you'll figure it out along the way, I'm sure.
It's
right, Jack and Cynthia?
Yeah. Hey, if you have a significant other, it is totally normal and healthy to have your own hobbies. Like if there's time to like spend time with each other and stuff. Like, but I have like my whole life, to like be with her and do things. So, but we do lots of stuff together. We go to the movies, we walk our dogs, like we do things. And like especially, of course, with our newborn, that's a lifetime commitment for the most part. So yeah, it's healthy to have your own hobbies. And she crochets, she watches her shows upstairs, and I like whenever I want to do my stuff, like I'm on like my big OLED TV downstairs playing my PlayStation 5. And if I'm feeling lonely, I'll tell the wife, I'm like, hey, you want to come down here and do your stuff? And she's like, yeah, sure. And she'll come downstairs and crochet or whatever, or read her Kindle. She's been super into her Kindle, reading a lot of books. So yeah, you just gotta find time. Honestly, you just gotta budget your time. Can't do everything at once.
What were you gonna say, Jack?
Are they thirsty books? My missus loves her thirsty books.
Oh my gosh, my wife too.
Just outing her right now.
She loves like all those smut books, huh?
Yeah.
That's all that she's been reading. Honestly, she loves it, which is great. Honestly, it keeps her off my back. So.
Okay.
Don't tell her I said that. I don't know if she'll ever listen to this.
I hope she hears that very loudly.
No, but, I'm glad she awesome. Has her stuff that she can do and stuff. But yeah, she read so many books this year, especially like being pregnant, like so much downtime to just like lay around. So yeah, so, I get it, Jack,
We're about to close ahead and ask any of our audience if they want to.
Sounded like a robot, Bianca.
Give you questions live. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's better.
All right.
Oh yeah, no.
Let's do it.
Okay, is it cool?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you hear me? What I
yeah,
said?
you're gonna people are gonna ask some questions.
Yeah, we'll leave it like that. And while we wait, do we have any comments?
Let's have a look.
Jack?
I believe we do. One from Malin. I really love your username. How did you come up with that?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I changed it actually. I don't know. I think I changed it maybe like a year into my virtual photography, but for the longest time it was like B-Rad Heiko. It was like my friends kind of gave me a nickname growing up, B-Rad. I don't know why. It was just like a nickname they said. My whole name is Brandon. Like I go by Bran just because I like Bran more than Brandon. So you can call me Bran, you call me Brandon or whatever. But my username was B-Rad Heiko for the longest time. And Heiko is kind of like more just like a fun shortening of my last name. So yeah, B-Red Heiko is kind of like my username for a long time, and then I think the last year or so, it's been BranCakes. 94 is like the year I was born, but BranCakes was my wife made that up actually because it was like a wordplay on pancakes. So it was just like it was pancakes or like cupcake, something like that, and it was like brand cake. It was like Brandon. So like she like merged those together, like brand cakes, and I was like, that's actually perfect. So I love that. So I kept it, and yeah, I think that's like that's my origin story for my name.
Love it though. I think we have one more question down here. It says, which do you prefer, landscapes or portrait shots, and why?
I prefer portraits just because of the limitations when it comes to a lot of photo modes. That's the only reason. Um, I do like portraits a lot because I love admiring just the fidelity of a lot of the character models. Like a lot of characters are just so detailed. Like like in Control, the main girl, what's her name? Jess in Control.
Jesse Faden.
Yeah, Jess Faden. Yeah, or like when you have like ray tracing on, you can like see like the actual, like you can see like the objects in her eye, like be like refracting off her eye, like this like being able to admire the details of like how much work goes into like the character models. I always find so fun. Like half the time, I'll use the photo mode to just like zoom in on the characters and see like really how detailed things are, and that might have been like a reason why I started doing virtual photography, because I like just liked admiring characters and details of stuff. But definitely, I definitely like portraits the most because of the limitations of photo modes. I think once photo modes finally understand that we want better camera range, I think my range of stuff will probably vary a lot more. Right now, it's been a lot.
That's really
It's
cool.
been a lot. It's been a lot more like portraits since I started. I have been doing landscapes. If you look back some of my stuff, or like just like shots of admiring like certain objects in the scenes and stuff. Um, but that's because the photo mode allows me to do that. If the photo mode doesn't allow me or give me the freedom to, I won't aggravate myself. I'll just like, this photo mode's not
Right.
good with it. I'm just gonna focus on this. But yeah.
Awesome. Good shit, Bran. Let's see. Okay. We're going to go ahead and ask you the last
All right.
question. What are your future aspirations or goals related to virtual photography?
I so I don't I don't know if I have too many goals. I really just do this for fun for the most part. I want to keep it that way, but I can't, it's hard to not think about where this type of hobby could take you. I think a good, don't quote me, but I think a good like example would be Kevin. Wasn't he, didn't he do a lot of virtual photography first, and then eventually he like started working for Ben's studio as like community manager? Am I wrong on
Yeah,
that?
no, you're totally right, man. He was like a massive Days Gone virtual photographer, and then he managed to land the dream job of
Yeah,
working
like
at the
yeah,
studio who
For
made the
real,
game.
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, it's insane.
I think that's like a perfect example of like, you know, it's hard not to think about where like a hobby like this could take you. And of course, I've always thought about that, where I'm like, man, that would be amazing to get my hands into anything regarding to a studio to work on a game. Even as like a community manager, like you're still engaging with like the fan base around a game title that people love, and being able to like share people's work and stuff. Like I think Kevin is, from what I've talked to him about, and like amount of times I've engaged with him over Twitter, he seems like a great guy, and I am super happy that he was able to have this work out for him. And I am sure there's a lot of people out there who are looking at him and being like, man, that would be awesome to do that too. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Oh, tons, dude.
So, but I think it's
Wasn't there another one? I think her name is Christy, right?
Christy. I'm terrible with
Or
names.
Christy or Kirsty. With a gorilla, I think. I don't know if she still does it or if it was gorilla, but I think she started off as a virtual photographer.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
in-game capture, like Ken, I think.
Yeah, Ken. He
Oh,
for
yeah,
Rockstar
man.
now?
Yeah, man.
That is crazy, dude.
That
I
is
honestly didn't.
madness.
That is madness. You're right. I was like surprised. I mean, not surprised because I don't think he's good. Like I think Ken's amazing. He has great shots. But I was like, holy shit. Pardon my language. Like that is amazing. Like good for him.
It's
And
Rockstar, isn't it, man? Like
yeah,
God tier. Like it's just Ken knocked out. Oh, man.
That is incredible. And yeah, I love virtual photography, and I think I am going to do this for a long time. But yeah, I will never shed the hope that maybe one day this could lead to something. Just because I love video games, and I love taking shots, and I love game development. I love I love the industry itself is like such a cool industry. Even though there's like been so many layoffs with workers in the industry, and it's been like really bad time to get in the industry. I think it's like such a special industry, and if I ever got the chance to do anything in video games, I would die happily. So, but besides that, I think some other, like there's some things I would like to do in virtual photography differently. Like I would love to get into a different. There's like two users, or sorry, two people on Twitter that post like gameplay showcases. They'll like record gameplay and like edit them together and like kind of like showcase like gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
One of them is like, I think his name is Much, Much.
Yeah, Much, man.
Much.
Yeah,
And there's another guy, and I am like, man, that is like something that I would want to do too. Like I think I could do it. Like I like I have the software, like I could do it, and I've done video editing before.
We actually have a person here. Her name's Misty, and she does incredible editing and a Rockstar editor. That is going to be something insane to see in GTA 6.
Oh my gosh.
So if you want to do something like that, man, you should try.
Yeah, I've been telling myself for a long time actually that I love taking shots, but being able to play the game even more, like like actually play the game and show people like just I think I mentioned before, like I like my shots to be like have that cinematic feel. I want to showcase like cinematic gameplay, it pretty much exactly what that guy does. Much, sorry, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, I'm not sure, but I want to do something like that. I think that's probably the next step that I would like to do and try to like dabble in, is showcase of like gameplay of different video games, like some of my favorite ones like God of War, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Callisto Protocol, whatever. Like I want to try to do that. I don't know if it's gonna be in the near future, but it's something that's always been in the back of my head. So maybe you guys will see that from me. But besides that, I try to reach more people with my shots. Try to grow.
Gotcha.
Try to grow as as a, I guess you can call me a content creator. I'm not really sure what you would call photographer.
Virtual photographer. Yeah, in-game capture.
That's kind of my goals.
That's awesome, Bran. I hope that all of these ambitions and goals will come to fruition, because I really do think you're amazing.
Thank you so
at
much.
What you do.
That means a lot.
No problem.
And I know I've been following
Bran.
you for a long time too.
Oh, I know. Since VGP, right?
VGP. Even before that, how long have you been sharing your photos on Twitter?
2020.
2020. Okay. Yeah, you definitely were one of like probably one of the few first people that I started following. I think that stuff would like pop up on my feed pretty constantly. It was like you, it was
Oh,
Jinxie. There are so many people, and I'm probably blanking because I'm terrible at names. I'm really good at faces, but I'm terrible at names. But yeah,
no,
it's
same.
I have you to thank too. You know, like you've always been super super nice.
Oh,
BGP
it's a
was
pleasure.
great. It was really great to work with them. I don't know if a lot of people know. I don't really have it on my bio or not, but I helped out with BPRT as well. Whenever they need my
Good
help,
shit.
and they've been great. I love helping out. I know a lot of us are so busy, so I try to help out when I can. But thanks for having me, though. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
I know, and you know what? Again, Bran, happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
I hope you enjoy your family, your new family, um, and you have the great rest of your day.
Yeah,
Okay.
you too. And Jack, thanks for so much for hosting this. Yeah,
All
it's
credit goes to Bianca, man. Yeah, no,
no, you're
she's
part of it
awesome.
too. You're part of it too. It's
He's the
you're the
bomb,
yeah.
man. He's been an awesome
You've been
leader.
great, and I
But yeah,
love seeing. I haven't watched as much of the interviews as I want, but you know what? I'm gonna make that part of the thing that I'm gonna do is listen to more of the interviews. But I listened to. I think the latest one I listened to was Turid, and
Yes.
awesome.
that one was
I
a great
love that
one.
one.
And then Kevin's one, just getting a little bit more of like his um his whole just story and like learning a bit more about him was great, and yeah, thank you so much, Jack, and thanks so much, Bianca. It's been a pleasure to be here.
No
Love it,
worries. Yeah,
man.
it's been
Thank you.
nice getting to know you a bit more, Bran. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming
and
on.
yeah, you'll see me around. You're not going to get rid of me
Appreciate you, dude.
that easily.
No getting rid of.
Nope.
All right. Bye
All
bye,
right,
you
bye
guys.
guys. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Bye.